good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show again and Flip Your Switch with Grace. My name is Grace Burkell. I'm a physical therapist, autism specialist, and emerging functional medicine practitioner. Today, we will have a great topic once again. It's about mindset. Before I introduce our lovely speaker, amazing speaker, visionary leader, I'd like to introduce what this show is about or the podcast about. This podcast we started last this I think February. The goal of which is just to educate people on wellness, on life, because and mostly focusing on the root cause of most of the illnesses. But along the process of doing this, I realized that mental health is really needed to be emphasized as we heal. So today we will have our speaker. Our speaker is Darla Makela. She is a visionary leader. She is a master mindset coach, um, which will she will discuss about what it is. She is a speaker and an author. So take it away, Darla. There you go.
Hello, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the nice welcome. Appreciate that. I'm excited to be here today to talk about changing our mind so we can change our life, which I think is such a powerful, powerful subject.
Yes, thank you for the the privilege of having you.
Absolutely.
Actually,
Thank you.
Miss Darla here was introduced by my friend Naomi. She's watching. She mentioned about this. There's a group on Facebook that talks about the mindset and all, and they're very like open to accepting members. So I did join, and I saw your post. I've been listening to you, and I said, "Oh, I want her to be my speaker," and I just messaged you, and
Yeah,
there
yeah.
here we are.
The power of social media, isn't it beautiful how we can connect with people that we would never ever meet in real life?
I know,
So
I know.
I'm just like so blessed by all that. I love my group. I love all the ladies in my group. It's been a great blessing to me. So I'm glad you joined and that we were able to connect.
Yes, yes. Speaking of group, would like to say hi to our viewers. We are actually in Global TV, that is like international viewers all over the world. So from Philippines, we have from Hong Kong, London, we have the UK, European countries. Of course, the America. We have also the followers, the group from Miss Darla, and we have Flip Your Switch with Grace. So we're actually international. We have international
Wow.
viewers, yeah. But they
Sure.
all don't worry, they all can understand English. So we'll keep on English. Now, if you can't understand me, I'm talking in my language.
Okay. I'll just hang out. We're good.
So to start, I am just curious, what is visionary leader means?
Absolutely. So, as a visionary leader, I help women get crystal clear on their vision because I know from my experience what we do in life is usually because we've been through something ourselves, right? And I remember years of my life, like I was in the corporate world and I just didn't know. I knew there was something else, but I didn't know what it was. And so, what I do is I work with women to help them get so crystal clear on their vision that they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And then we work to create a plan, to create like a strategy. And the ultimate goal is that that vision, that what they know that they're supposed to do, that they actually accomplish that, which
Uh-huh.
allows them then to be able to support their family and their community with the gifts that they have, with their financial resources. And so as a visionary leader, I'm that person. I'm that like leader that gets to just wrap my arms around these women and give them the resources and give them the support and the encouragement that they need to be able to like really identify like, okay, this is what I'm called to do, and now I get to walk in it. Because sometimes we can know what we wanted, what we're called to do, but we don't necessarily know how to get there. And so it's kind of a like twofold thing, you know. I get to like help them identify and find clarity, and then if they, some people come and they already know exactly what they're supposed to do, but they don't know how to get there. So that is what a visionary leader is.
Yes. So what is the difference between you or also a master mindset coach? This is like I like to know too, like as I don't know what's the difference between the master mindset coach to a life coach, because I've been hearing a lot of life coach. But then how would you differentiate between the two?
I would say, you know, a life coach really could be a multitude, a myriad of different things, you know, working with different areas of people's lives. I am a certified health and life coach and a certified transformational mindset coach. So I think the main difference with that is that I have the experience and I have the tools to really help people change their mindset. So
Mm,
instead of just like giving strategy and giving, you know, like, okay, here's 5 steps to lose weight, in every single thing that I do, every client I work with, the mindset is the biggest part of anything. And so I think that you know, as a life coach, I'm also a transformational mindset coach. So it's just basically that kind of that like extra, you know, training experience and you know, um just life experiences, just kind of taking it to that next level, that next step, because we know that without our minds being changed, our life isn't going to change in any way, shape, or form. So
wow. Right. So how did you start being a life the master mindset coach? How
okay,
did you
well,
start?
yeah, well, I mentioned earlier that I spent some time in corporate. I spent 27 years in the corporate world, and I was pretty good at what I did for the most part. I kind of climbed up the ladder and found some success there. And I just really, for the last probably 5 years or so, I just really felt unfulfilled. I knew there was something different out there for me, but I really didn't know what it was. And it
Mhm.
just, you know how sometimes when things just fall into place for you when you're not looking for it? That's kind of what happened with me. I ended up, my job was eliminated after 27 years, and they're like, we'll find you another one or you can be done. And I just knew at that moment that that was the time, like I was being given a gift to be able to step out and say like, okay, I don't know what it is. And I mean, I left the corporate world and I had no clue what I was going to do. I just knew that there was something different. And it was one of those things where I always say like sometimes we have to trust without knowing. You know, we just have to trust that like, okay, I don't really know what's next, but and then it just ended up I was Facebook friends with a gal. I had never met her face to face. I had been on a couple calls with her and other people, and she
Mhm.
started posting about how she had become a coach, and I just felt drawn to her, and I was like, can we have lunch? We had lunch, and she shared with me what she was doing, and that was it. And it was like I knew in that moment that that is exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And that was
Wow.
about 5 years, 4 or 5 years ago. But I've
Yeah, I
always,
can
go ahead.
go ahead. I can relate on that one. Like this podcast, this started just like just a vision of just helping people. And I am actually so shy in front of like camera. I can even do a simple live, but
Oh,
you know what? Like, I think that calling that you mentioned is really powerful. That is to serve, that is to help people, and
mhm.
you're willing to do whatever it takes. And I think that's the one that really pushes us to do what we're doing right now, talking to each other.
Right. Yeah.
You know, with this one, um we find people like I find you through Naomi. She's watching, by the way. Thank you,
Hmm.
Naomi, for introducing us. You know, and you know, it's just amazing how we become like you become a visionary leader. I become, you know, like a host.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
amazing, right? Just helping people. So now, with that master mindset coach, I want to know or understand what is mindset. How do you coach mindset? Let's start
Yes.
with what is mindset first.
Well, I mean, I guess when I think about mindset, I just think about the way that I'm thinking, what I'm allowing to come into my mind, what I am entertaining in my mind, and also your belief system, because your belief system comes from the things that you're thinking about. Like as you think about something, you begin to believe it. Or as people speak to you, you know, through the years as we grow up and people tell us things, and maybe when we were 5, I like to tell this story of my little, I have a granddaughter who's 2.5, and I was with her and her brothers one day, and we were eating, and she stood up on the chair, her chair, in the middle of our meal, and she started to proclaim that she was a princess and she was lovely and she was kind and I am beautiful. And she just kept saying these things. And we all just kind of kept eating. And afterwards, after the fact, I was like, that's what it's all about. We believe those things when we're little, right? But as we
Mm-hmm,
go through things in our life and maybe hardships, pain, maybe we're bullied, whatever it is, we have people in our life telling us we can't do it, then we begin to have the mindset of, well, I can't.
mm-hmm.
When we were 2 or 3, we really believed that we could.
Wow. Yes, I believe that mindset impacts how you respond to your mistakes as well, and like how that set of beliefs also, you know, that you know that makes sense of the world and yourself really impact on, you know, how you behave, how you reply or you know, respond to
Mm-hmm.
criticism too, or some just comment, you know. So do you have like a specific like story that's so important to you that you know that what you're doing is very important? Would you like to share that if you have some like clients that really impact you as a visionary leader, that what you're doing is really important?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing, that the most common thing that always excites me with clients is when they come to me and they're, I'll use a client, for example, just was really struggling in her corporate job. And it wasn't, we began to find it's not so much about the job as it is about who you are and how you see that job, and
Mhm,
also what you believe is possible for yourself. And I have another client that I'm working with right now that, when she came to me, she was like she had been told that her job was ending, and at this point, she's not quite sure where that's going to go, or where she's going to be working in a couple weeks. But the what I see is I teach them. The biggest thing I teach my clients is your thoughts create your feelings create your actions, and your actions create your results. So when people begin to change the way that they're thinking, the results are different than the way that they were before. So when I see a client say, I know I'm going to be out of a job anymore, pretty soon, but I'm not anxious about it because I know that there's a better plan out there for me. Or when I see somebody say, you know what, I'm going to like give up this job for a job that will be fulfilling, even though maybe it didn't pay as much, the benefits weren't as great, but to actually see them feel and experience what it's like to be confident, to find their voice, to realize that they no longer have to tolerate, being in an environment that is toxic, or just an environment where they're not allowed to be who they are. And I think that's the biggest thing. And then to see them start getting their voice is such a powerful thing, because we know so often, when we're in, there's different types of businesses that generally, I mean, it's pretty common for you to just do what they say and not have a voice. And when I see these women find their voice and start, like, and oftentimes that voice is coming before they know what their next step is. So.
Yes, that's very powerful. I'd like to welcome our viewers. I have here from Philippines my two sisters, Christina and Imelda, and we have also Christy Arvillar from Philippines. Thank you for watching. Like guys, if you have some question, comment below. Give some us loves and likes up there so we know we're we're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
So right, so I know like mindset setting is very important, and to parents that's listening, what is your message to them, like as parenting? What is the most important things that you want to share to them as to building the mindset of their kids? Because that's what you mentioned, when they're little, you have this mindset about yourself, you're this and that. And I remember when I was little, that's why I have this, they call it oozing confidence. I can sing wherever, because I remember my parents, my siblings was watching, they always tell me that I'm pretty, that I have a good voice. So in my mind, I am that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am now like 48. I still have that mindset that I'm pretty, that
That's
and it kind of
awesome.
helps and it helps me like, oh, nobody tells me that I'm
Mm-hmm.
ugly, so I know I'm pretty. So what do you advise these parents or this, people that's raising kids? How did it impact that would impact them as they grow old?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've actually never been asked that before, so this is new territory for me. Um, I will tell you that the very first thing I would tell parents is the work has to be done on you. And I know that sounds weird, but we can't help people get somewhere that we're not. So if you are going into parenting and you have struggles or turmoils or trauma from your life, or you have a thought pattern where you now believe the negative things, that you don't believe you're worthy, those that will always roll over to the children. And it's a concept that, I mean, it's real. And so that would be my biggest thing, is like, you've got to do the work. You've got to make sure that your mind, I've seen this before where maybe the parents are like nervous or anxious people, and I see the children growing up to be that way. And so
Yeah.
when you are making sure that your thoughts are, that you are keeping your mind stayed on positive, and I'm not just talking about like, oh, positive quotes around the house, which I think are powerful. I talk about that all the time. But I'm talking about the thought patterns and the belief system that you have. So when you believe in yourself and you believe that what you're doing is powerful, you can your kids, first of all, will see that. If you're anxious, your kids will see that. If you're
Yeah.
angry, your kids will see that. So
Yeah.
if you've got unforgiveness, if you've got anger, whatever, it's so important to find that peace for yourself. And then I think, just like, I think about the story I told about my granddaughter. She's that way because because, like you, they tell her that all the time. And
Yes.
so I think, yes, tell your children, give them a voice. I see, there's a parent that I just love, how she has a son that's kind of sometimes gets a little challenged with his emotions. And it's okay, they have the conversations, like it's not okay to hit your brother, but it is okay to feel and to like be able to use your voice to tell me that something's not right. And so I think when we raise our kids to believe that they are beautiful or they are strong or that they are courageous, they will be that. And then to just be able, as they get older, to keep that conversation going, so that, unfortunately, the world isn't always nice out there. And, to be able to just have the relationship with your kids where if they get bullied at school, they can come home and talk about it with you, and you can get, grab it right then and there, versus it going on for years and you not knowing. But when you build that confidence into your kids from a very young age, it's not going to be natural for other people to like not be doing that, so they'll be more likely to talk about it. Whereas if you're not building that in, it will just feel very natural for them, and they'll think that's the way it's supposed to be. So those would be some tidbits of of
Yes, I believe you, because like when I do like autism caregiver empowerment. I'm a physical therapist, so that's what I do. Like we know we deal with a lot of pain, joint pain, weakness, but as I've been practicing physical therapist for almost 28 years, and I think as you know, it was not taught at school that much, but as I go with my profession, it's just like building that confidence in them that it's okay to be hurt, that
Mhm,
to give time to heal and
mhm,
respect your body as it heals. It's very important to really change your mindset, to really improve, to give hope that there is still hope to get well.
yeah,
And with these viewers, we want to really emphasize on this, that it's okay to be mad, it's okay to be sad, and it's
mhm,
okay that sometimes you get lost sometimes and you get hurt. But there's always a mindset. Don't forget to remind yourself that we
mhm,
heal. We can heal. We can be, going back to what we are doing, and it's okay. Give time to heal, emotionally, physically, and going back to, parenting now. um, I've talked to a lot of parents that children will learn 80% visual. So that's the reason why when you tell your kids, do this and do that, they don't do it. That's because they
mhm.
don't see it. So it's important, it's important for parents. Like
Yeah,
if you tell them to clean, so you need to clean too. It's because they learn through vision. So
yeah,
let's remind our parents about that. So we also deals with people that's work hard. What are your message as to related to like mindset setting? What is your message to them for people who works and already has like burnout, mindset, like they're just like working, you know? What are your message to those people that's they're um just I don't see it as laziness, but they're just tired of their life.
yeah,
What
yeah.
is your message to them?
I mean, that's a that's a really hard thing, because oftentimes when people are in that space where they're like, we might call them workaholics, right? Or just fried and working, they oftentimes don't see that they have an option. And
Mm.
so I really try to help people in that situation just really step back and say, like, okay, so if like what, like let's say you're working, I mean, I'm married to someone who works a ton of hours and is very, has a very stressful job. And but what I like to ask people is, what you're doing in alignment with the values that you have in your life? So
Mm.
sometimes that helps people be able to like justify kind of stepping back, because they realize that, okay, some of the values in my life is family time, or self-care, time for myself. And that will oftentimes help people be able to like kind of give themselves permission, like, okay, that's right, this doesn't fit my values, so I'm going to take a little bit of time off. I think another thing too is really helping people understand expectations. And I get it that there
Mm.
are some employers that their expectations are like nobody could meet them, right? But just being able to help people have a voice, like understand that you do have a voice. If you're having to work 60, 70 hours a week to get things done, like let's find your voice, let's find your confidence, let's find your sense of self-worth so that you can go have the necessary conversations. Or maybe your boss doesn't realize how many hours you're working and you're doing it, and the expectations that you think are there aren't really there. And so just really stepping back, and it is a tough one. I mean, when people are working, when they're in careers or jobs, and for self-employed people, for entrepreneurs, that's really important because they have, like, they're it. And I find myself doing that just because I work at home. I'm like, oh, I'll just be working all day and all night. My house gets messy and my laundry doesn't get done. And so I have to remind myself, like, okay, Darla, you can put it down. It'll still be there tomorrow. And just really looking at what are the most critical things. Are there things that can't wait? Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. But just really like taking the time to breathe and to take some personal time for yourself is so important.
So I know we both have like a group for entrepreneurs. So having my said that, what is your message to these entrepreneurs who are just starting, who are excelling, and who's inspiring people as to mindset setting? What is your message to them?
Oh gosh, I I have a couple.
Just say, I know.
I would say for those of you starting out, you have to know what you're called to do. You have to know you have to be very clear on your vision. And the reason I say that is because sometimes it's hard, right? Entrepreneurism is not simple. It's not easy. And I was on Clubhouse today, and they were talking about people who like go out and act like it's all easy and whatever, and they're like, it's never easy for anyone. Now, you might get a point in your career where you just kind of have it flowing like a smooth, like a well-oiled wheel. But I would say that's the first thing, is really understand, get crystal clear on your vision. Because when you know that that's what you're supposed to be doing, it's easier to walk through the hard times. It's easier not to give up. Like, you're going to want to give up sometimes. And if you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing, you won't have that anchor there to hold you. And I think, like, find community, like, don't try to do it alone. And nowadays we don't have to. There's Facebook groups, there's coaches, there's, support systems out there that you can be part of. But just know that, like, you don't have to have all the answers. You're running a business. Like, your specialty is not everything that's part of running a business. It can't be. Like, nobody's superhuman like that. Well, I don't know, maybe there are people, but the majority of us, if I, as a coach, like, my specialty is coaching people. My specialty is not marketing and, sales. And so I've had to get my own coaches to help me with the things that aren't my specialty. And so that's my biggest thing, is don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And I really don't like it when coaches are all about, like, oh, spend tons of money. You don't have to spend tons of money, but you just need to somehow invest in yourself. And maybe it's time, maybe it's taking, courses or listening to podcasts, things like this, and really learning things that you don't know yet.
Well, speaking of entrepreneurs, we have Liz Rose. She is my classmate in low carb fasting coaching. So recently, just sharing, I got interviewed one of the speaker who inspired me to, one of my specialties to lose weight. Actually, I was not planning to. I just interview a speaker who talk about low carb fasting, and I said, "Oh, let me try it." And then I've lost 20 pounds, and it's like, wow,
Wow. Well, that's
learn
good.
more.
Congratulations.
So I become while I was like studying functional medicine, I said, can I still do this? Can I squeeze this in my time? So I said, well, that's just for Saturday. And then I did it. I finished it April. Now I'm starting coaching. Not that serious, but whenever people like reach out to me, I do that
Yeah.
too.
Well, good
Yes.
for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have classmates from Philippines, from all over the world watching our lives. So
Oh.
next is so we've talked about the parent, the how about the students, especially nowadays with pandemic. I know they've been like really have a hard time coping with so what can you tell or what can you advise the students in changing their mindsets now that we're almost out of isolation, and but still I've noticed that some kids still has this mindset that they still have the fears, and
Hmm.
it's hard for them, and they're
Yeah.
thinking that their age is not that they're still young to be
Yeah.
coping with these changes. So what is your message to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I think with students, because, oftentimes students are like, if they're not living at home, they don't always have a community. And now that if they've been schooling at home, and maybe in the dorms by themselves or one or two roommates, I think like you've got to find a community of people. And if that's wherever that is, I mean, the pandemic just brought all of us home. And so we had to learn how to communicate, without being face to face. But I think that's a big thing. I also, I'm going to go back to, because it's just what I believe so strongly about is, our thoughts create our feelings create our actions, and our actions create our results. So as we're coming out of the pandemic or wherever, I know different parts of the country are at different phases, but just really finding ways like affirmations. I teach so much on having a gratitude journal, using affirmations to help you change the way that you're thinking. And for students, I think that's a really powerful thing to learn at that younger age, to learn how to cope through that. But if you're having trouble with like anxiety and depression, things like that, it's so important to get some support there, and don't try to do it alone. Don't try to, numb it with other things, but it's really important to get some support. But I think also just like just think about being resilient, like yes, the pandemic hit us, but it's not taking us down, right? There's opportunities that we've all been able to experience because of the pandemic. But I think, young as young people, just find your community, get the support that you need, don't try to be alone, and then just really practice for everyone. I encourage everyone. It's like, I don't care what age you are, gratitude, affirmations, those things should be a part of your day, because that's what begins like every morning when I wake up, and I focus on the things I'm grateful for. It switches something in my brain. There's not enough room for all the negative stuff, and it just gets me going on that, like, okay, these are the things that I have in my life versus that I don't have. Because when we focus on lack, then we live in lack. But when we focus on abundance, we're going to live in abundance. So
Yes, I agree with you. Before we proceed, let's welcome also the viewers from we have from Hong Kong and Philippines. Um, Hello to Brenda and Christy. We have one from UK as well. We're international.
wow, cool.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
It's late here in America, but they're like here, our around Eastern time, we're almost like it's 10:48, but there in the Philippines it's morning. It's like a
Yep.
12
Yep.
hour difference. That's awesome. So
Yep.
all right. So you also mentioned that you are a speaker, um, which is so obvious. You speak so well. You also mentioned that you're an author. Can you tell me about your book and you could invite them where to get it and things like that?
Sure. Okay, so the author thing is super new for me. So it's actually this is pre-launch, okay? So I have two
Oh,
things that I've just that are completed and ready to launch, actually both of them next week. So the first one is I wrote it's called 31 Days of Unending Grace. And it is
mm,
an affirmation devotional. And so that I will have the link out for. That's actually a printable, so it's going to be super easy. It probably the best way is just to share my website or my email or something or Facebook,
yes.
because like I said, those are both dropping next week. The other one is I'm a co-author with 50 other authors, and it's
Wow.
yeah, it's super cool. It's a book called The Everyday Woman's Guide to Doing What You Love. And so you get 51 stories of women that are giving you inspirational experiences about, how you can do what you love. That launches next Tuesday, I think, on the 22nd. And
Wow.
so I don't
Okay.
have links yet for them, which is like a bummer, um
Right.
but they yeah, you can find me. I don't know what the best way is to go about that, but I don't know if you have notes or comments that we can just put my email address in.
Yes,
um
yeah, we will have that that's comment below. This will be converted to YouTube. So
okay.
like we will put that one too. And
Okay, I
then
can
we
get you those links. But yeah, I was
yeah.
like, I have to put author because I just finished both of those and I'm super excited.
Wow.
So
Wow. I'm planning to make a book too. So so
it's so
I'm putting
fun.
there. I'm
Yeah,
getting
no, you can do it. You can do it. It's actually been a
okay.
cool experience doing a co-authoring, so that might be even a something to consider. But yeah, that's been neat. And
That's
also go ahead. What?
that's my next project.
Yeah, you got it. You got lots of experiences. So, and I also do a lot of I've done a lot of webinars and teachings and stuff on with different businesses and things like that. So always open to speaking about lots of different things. I love to talk. Can you tell?
Yeah, me too.
I know. It's like you get on some good subjects, we can talk all day, right?
Yes. Now before we close, I know we're running out of time. I always ask this question. Who is Miss Darla? What is your goal in life? And what is your plans? And what
Uh,
made you become a visionary leader? What is
yeah,
your goal?
I would say who I am is it's been my life. I would say all of my life. I've always been inspired. I've always wanted to inspire people. It doesn't matter when I was younger, I remember I talk about this in my Facebook group, but I had this little green notebook and it had all kinds of inspirational quotes and words in it. Carried it with me everywhere I went, and I've always worked with women. It just encouraging them and inspiring them, and that just comes
Mhm.
very natural for me. And so I think when I think about who I am, well, I'm a daughter of God. I'm a Christian. I'm also just that person that you can come to and that I'm going to help you see. So as a visionary leader, I always tell people I have the privilege, and maybe it's a gift, to so often be able to see for people what they can't see themselves. And that's like it's a gift to me because I can be talking to someone and I'm like, oh, I see this. Oftentimes they look at me like I'm crazy, but that's what allows me to be able to inspire women and to be able to inspire people, um, to just like go for their goals. So I think when you ask me what I want to be that person that takes people to the next level, that inspires people to do what they are called to do without apology. Um, I want to be able to, like, one of my big goals in my life is just being able to give back to some in a really powerful way to some really um, areas of my community that I am passionate about. And so I think I want to be a philanthropist. I want to be a philanthropist, but I just want to inspire people. I want people to,
Do.
like, their lives to be changed because they worked with me or they connected with me. And
Yes, yes. I think one of the trait or characteristic of being a coach is the passion of caring. You care about others. You care about other people, care about your
mhm,
family, and sometimes we forget about ourselves too.
yeah,
So we have to take care of ourselves first,
yeah.
then take care of others. Because sometimes too much caring of other people, we have the tendency to not take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
So with this, I want to close. You want to add more to our talk. I know we've talked a lot of like mindset.
Yeah, no, this has been great. This is a great honor for me to be part of your community. So thank you. And
Thank you
no,
for
just,
sharing your group too.
yeah, no, I just think, people can reach out to me if they have questions or want to be inspired in that way. But I'm very grateful. So thank you so much.
You are most welcome, and thank you for this privilege of knowing you, of what you do as well. And God bless you, and
Thank
more
you.
power to you.
And you,
So
I'm gonna wait for your book now.
now, yes, yes. I'm actually doesn't know what to write because I have a lot of like I an advocate for autism. I have a son with autism. That's why I'm
Okay.
into that. I'm a physical therapist, so I'd like to do the exercise part. But I actually, when I was doing that, I was actually a health educator in nutrigenomics. That's the new science now that we could change, the history. Like, let's say you have a family history of being diabetes, you could change it now by what you put in your mouth. So
Mhm.
speaking in relationship with our topic of mindset, now
Yeah.
eating like low carb, like just to add the nutrition, eating low carb, low sweets could actually have a healthy brain. So
Yeah.
we have a podcast for that with some doctors. So I'd like you to invite you to our to your group. I'd like you to invite on my YouTube. I have flipyourswitchwithgrace.com. So those are we have groups in weight management. If you know somebody with autism too, that's my specialty.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
also nutrigenomics. If you want to know about nutrigenomics, how can you change your family history? Because we have a set of genes of being inflammatory. You could change it now with our new
Mhm.
science breakthrough called nutrigenomics. So uh
Yeah, for
thank you
sure.
so much. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
exchange ideas.
Yes. Yes, for
That's
sure.
very
I love
important. That's
it.
very
Yeah,
important.
I agree. I totally agree.
And I've learned a lot from you, like about mindset. Like it takes whatever you think can affect your thoughts, can affect your behaviors, and your behaviors can affect your actions.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
with this, I'd like to close. Thank you so much, and more power to you. I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to read your book.
Okay, it'll be out next week, so watch for it.
So what's your Facebook? So people, do you do like one-on-one coaching?
Yes, absolutely. I do one-on-one coaching.
Tell
I have a couple group coaching or a group coaching that's coming up, but that won't be ready for a couple or a few weeks. But one-on-one coaching, I'd love to talk to you. You can find me on Facebook at my name, Darla, and then the last name is Makela. It's Makela. And you can just message me there and we can connect that way as well.
Yes, would you like to invite them in your group as well? And what's
Yes,
the name of the
if they're women, it's a woman only group. The Facebook group is called Christian. Oh my gosh, Christian women. It's Christian
Yeah.
women entrepreneurs and professionals supporting each other. So it's kind of a long
Yeah.
one. Christian women. It is, if you go to my Facebook, like my personal profile, there is a link there that you can get there right from my personal profile too. But it's Christian women entrepreneurs and professionals supporting each other. And we do exactly what it says. That's why it's so long.
So, to close this one, we summarize what mindset is. Mindset is the establishment of set of attitudes by somebody or someone. It's a set of beliefs that you shape now that you make sense of your world and yourself, and it affects you how you feel in any given situation. And mindset impacts how you respond to mistake. It also affects how you stand back and echoes your future. So thank you so much, Miss Darla, for sharing your knowledge and your time to us.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
much.